Welcome to your Shadow channel. Now we will tell another chilling horror story. Tonight, we delve into the 3 true horror stories about working at night shift. Are you ready to get scared? Let's begin. The first story is about the call from inside the hospital. By the flickering light of the old hospital corridor, Jenna walked the night shift. The air smelled of antiseptic and decay, a haunting perfume that clung to her scrubs. The building itself seemed to hold secrets, dark, ancient whispers that echoed through its dimly lit halls. Jenna had heard the stories, the nurses' hushed conversations during breaks, the janitor's nervous glances. They spoke of room 305, a place sealed off years ago after a tragic fire. The room was a relic, untouched by time, its walls still bearing the scorch marks of that fateful night. One evening, as Jenna made her rounds, the phone in the nurse's station rang. She picked it up, expecting a doctor or a worried family member. But the voice on the other end was a mere whisper, barely audible. "Help me," it said. "Room 305. Jenna's heart raced. The room had been empty for years, its door bolted shut. She hesitated, then followed the sound down the corridor. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the peeling wallpaper. As she reached room 305, the door creaked open, an invitation or a warning, she couldn't tell. The air inside was thick with ash, as if the fire still smoldered. The room held an antique bed, its sheets untouched, and a rusted four-stand. The phone sat on the bedside table, its cord trailing to the floor. Jenna picked it up, her hand trembling. The line was dead, yet she heard the same whisper. "Help me." She glanced at the bed. A figure lay there, obscured by the darkness. Jenna's breath caught. The person was burned, their skin charred, eyes wide open. Their lips moved, but no sound emerged. Jenna stepped closer. "Who are you?" she whispered. The figure's gaze bore into her soul. "I am the forgotten," it said. "Trapped between life and death. The fire took my body, but my spirit remains." Chills raced down Jenna's spine. "Why now?" "The night shift," the figure replied. "When the veil between worlds thins. You can free me, nurse. Break the seal, release my soul." Jenna hesitated. The room seemed to close in on her. The walls pulsed with memories, the screams, the heat, the desperation. She reached for the door, her hand trembling. But before she could turn the knob, the figure's voice grew urgent. "Beware," it warned. "For every soul set free, another takes its place. The hospital hungers. It feeds on those who listen to the call." Jenna's heart pounded. She glanced back at the figure, its eyes pleading. In that moment, she made her choice. The door swung open, and the room swallowed her whole. I hope this tale sends shivers down your spine, dear reader. Beware the calls from forgotten rooms, they may lead you to places you can never return from. The second story is about the midnight janitor. In the heart of the city stood a skyscraper that pierced the night sky, its windows like eyes watching over the urban expanse. Tom, the janitor, had worked there for years, his presence as much a part of the building as the steel beams that held it upright. The night shift was his domain, a time when the building breathed a different kind of life. The hustle of daytime was replaced by an eerie stillness, broken only by the hum of the cleaning machines and the occasional flicker of a faulty light. Tom was no stranger to the odd occurrences that came with the territory, doors closing on their own, elevators moving without being called, whispers that seemed to come from the walls. But there was one floor that even he avoided when he could, the executive floor. It was said that the founder of the company, a man both revered and feared, had never truly left. His portrait hung in the main office, eyes following anyone who dared to enter. One night, as Tom was making his rounds, he noticed a light on the executive floor. It was coming from the founder's office. Curious and a little unnerved, he made his way up. The door was ajar, which was strange because he remembered locking it. Inside, the office was immaculate, not a paper out of place, except for the portrait. It seemed different. The eyes were more intense, almost alive. As he began to clean, the temperature dropped. A chill ran down his spine as he heard the unmistakable sound of an old typewriter. But the room was empty. No typewriter in sight. The clacking grew louder, more insistent. Tom wanted to run, but his feet wouldn't move. He was drawn to the portrait, and as he looked into the painted eyes, he heard a voice. "You're late, Thomas," it said, stern and cold. Tom's heart raced. Late for what? He managed to ask. The voice chuckled, a sound that seemed to come from the walls themselves. "For your shift, of course. The company never sleeps, and neither do you. Not anymore." The next morning, the day shift found Tom's cleaning cart abandoned on the executive floor. But of Tom, there was no sign. Some say he's still there, working the midnight shift, his footsteps echoing in the halls, forever cleaning for a boss who will never let him clock out. I hope this story adds a touch of the supernatural to your night and keeps you wondering what might lurk in the shadows during the long hours of the night shift. The third story is about the diner at the crossroads. The neon sign of the Crossroads Diner flickered in the night, casting an eerie glow on the wet asphalt. Sarah, the night shift waitress, was used to the quiet hum of the late hours, the occasional trucker stopping by for a cup of coffee, the sound of the jukebox playing old tunes. But tonight was different. The storm outside raged, and with each flash of lightning, the diner seemed to shift, the shadows dancing along the walls. It was on such a night that he appeared, a man in a drenched trench coat, his hat casting a shadow over his face. He took a seat at the counter, ordered a coffee, and said nothing more. Sarah poured him a cup and tried to make small talk, but he only stared out the window, his eyes fixed on something in the distance. Hours passed, and the man never touched his coffee. Sarah grew uneasy, there was something about him that didn't sit right with her. She decided to check the security cameras, and what she saw made her blood run cold. The man wasn't there. The stool was empty. She turned around, and there he was, still sitting, still staring. Sarah approached, her heart pounding. "Sir, are you all right?" she asked. No response. She reached out to touch his shoulder, and her hand passed right through him. The man vanished, leaving behind only the full cup of coffee. Terrified, Sarah ran to the owner's office and found a dusty photo album. Flipping through the pages, she stopped at a black and white photo of the diner from years ago. There he was, the man in the trench coat, standing outside the diner. The caption read, "The Crossroads Diner, where paths cross and lost souls find their way. In memory of John, who vanished one stormy night." Sarah's eyes widened as the realization hit her. The diner wasn't just a place for the living, it was a beacon for those caught between worlds, a place where the lost were drawn on nights like this. She returned to the counter, the coffee cup still full. Outside, the man stood in the rain, his gaze now on her. Sarah understood. She poured the coffee onto the ground outside, and as it mixed with the rain, the man's spirit seemed to find peace. He nodded to her, a silent thank you, and disappeared into the night. From that night on, Sarah knew the diner was more than it seemed. It was a crossroads not just for roads, but for destinies, a place where the veil was thin and the spirits of the night passed through. I hope this story adds an extra layer of mystery to your night shift musings. Remember, some encounters are more than mere chance, they're a glimpse into the unknown. These are just one of the many horror stories. There are many more out there, waiting to be discovered and told. Do you have any horror stories of your own? Share them in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more spooky content. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Bye.